Are you looking for valuable business advice to reach that 7-figure revenue mark? Do you want actionable tips to properly navigate through every business challenge you encounter along the way? Let Tersh Blissett and Josh Crouch be your guide in getting you to the top here at Service Business Mastery. Tune in as they sit down with world-renowned authors in business, leadership, and personal growth who share valuable insights about management, marketing, pricing, human resources, and so much more. Let their nuggets of wisdom gold guide you in owning a thriving, profitable, and ever-growing business. Here are your hosts, Tersh and Josh.
All right, welcome back to another episode of the Service Business Mastery podcast. We have favorite guests on our show, or at least one of the favorite guests. I don't want to make you guys feel too good. We got Justin and Noah from UpFrog. These guys, we actually have added some beverages, so we don't normally drink on the show, but you can't see us, so you just have to take our word for it that we are drinking and having a good time here in Vegas. Guys, welcome back to the show. We got some new stuff to talk about, maybe talking and kind of rehashing some old stuff, if you will, but welcome back.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. And, always a lot of fun to be here in Vegas. Always fun to be back on the podcast and, Profit Rocket, right? A lot of buzz around the event, right? Like everybody was excited to get here and a lot of big things and pictures and things were thrown out, and then we're here and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Like last night was pretty surreal. We're on the rooftop of this, brand new casino here in Vegas, and you're looking out and like, this is the new look of HVAC.
It is.
Yeah.
The industry's changed in just 5 to 10 years.
We're looking on the side of a casino with 66 floors, and there is the picture and logo of Profit Rocket.
Yeah.
On the side of it. Like,
that's pretty sweet.
Now,
so everybody
the
that's driving in Vegas is like, what the hell is Profit? What is HVAC? What is this? What is this thing?
Yeah.
Why does it seem so cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did I go to college?
Yeah, exactly.
As we sit here in the center of the conference room, it's just more people than we envisioned, and it's been quite busy with all the stuff going on. But I've seen a bunch of people who are really amped to grow their business, and it's cool to see them all in one place. All these people are here to learn and implement new ideas. So I think that's a good
and I think it's
good way to spend off today.
We have a lot of clients around the country, and it's cool to see them face to face.
Yes.
Yeah,
like we have so many here, and it's like, wow.
Yes.
Like, people look different in person than they do on Zoom.
Much different.
It is.
It's the biggest difference for me.
It is.
So some people you assume were, short, and then they're towering over. You're like, how are you like 6'5"? I'm a pretty tall guy. And then, other people, they look different, and that's the best way to put it. So,
yeah, it's nice. I mean, we're quote unquote in a post-COVID world. At least it feels normal.
The handshakes are back.
Handshakes are back. No elbow rubs. No, fist bumps are still there, which is cool. But
yeah.
What's nice about this event, what I've seen is it's very focused on contractors.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very contractor heavy crowd versus mostly vendors.
Yes.
Which, it's cool. It's got a place,
many.
but there's hundreds, if not, 1,000 or so contractors here learning different things, talking to different people. And there's 15 vendors?
Yep.
12,
not
15.
many.
I know you guys are one of them here, but 12, 15 vendors.
Yep.
So, speaking of which, so obviously, you guys represent and own UpFrog. So digital marketing agency, you guys more, it's kind of a generic term for you guys because you guys are.
We like to call it a growth engine.
Yeah.
You guys,
growth engine.
Yeah. You guys have solved some unique problems. We've talked about some of those things in the past. On today's episode, we're going to talk more about recovery.
Yeah, the second R.
The second R, if you will. We talked about reactivation in the last one, just getting back in front of your database, getting tune-ups, getting those things on the board. So why don't you guys kind of take me through what is recovery, first of all, and why is that so important, and also maybe why it gets forgotten so easily.
Well, it's a big topic, right? Recovery is something first that we saw in the Home Depot retail program that we were dealing with, right? Because retail sales leads that we were running close lower than a demand lead, right?
Sure.
When somebody's AC or furnace is broken, it's much easier to close them on a one-call close, right? So when you're going out to somebody's home who has maybe generated a cold lead from the internet, and you're going out there and their system's not broken. It's getting old, but they know they need to replace it in the future. So we really got introduced to the world of, okay, how do we sell a job when I'm not at the kitchen table? Right? Because if I can figure out how to do that, I can be more successful and we can get more revenue into the company. So when we look at an average HVAC company of, say, 5 trucks, and let's just talk service calls for a second. On average, there is 1,530 unsold service calls in an entire year on a 5-truck company.
That's insane.
It's insanity. And, that's
insane.
at about a 45 to 50% close rate. So if you're running, your close rate of your service techs, for this is no heat, no cool, right? Calls that your techs, these aren't even.
So these are the calls you're getting a service fee and you're not getting anything else. What you're saying?
Yeah. And we kind of follow that process all the way through. And at the end of the year, there's about $1.3 million left of jobs that are unsold, even if you only recovered 30% of those.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because repairs aren't sexy. Like,
no,
when you have open unsold estimates for repairs, it's like, whatever. It's like, who cares about $300? I'm trying to get 3,000 or 10,000 or whatever.
Right. So we've been talking to people about, hey, what do you currently do? Like all contractors around, they say, well, we have our techs follow up. We have a office person that follows up. Okay.
I'd be surprised if those things were actually true.
The biggest thing and how I know that will never work ever, like internal processes for a tech following up or somebody like that, is it has to be a different person or thing that follows up with the initial appointment.
Right, because the technician's not going to pull to the side of it, like
dude,
in between calls.
He's not been in the attic all day. He's tired when he gets home. Do you really think he's going to follow up?
We all say they should run 3 or 4 calls a day, but when it's hot, they're running more than 4 calls a day.
Absolutely.
Like it's the way life is.
I've heard up to 9 from a few people.
Oh, 9's like some of these guys. Some of these guys
just breezing through them.
Some of these guys are a badge of honor. It's like, I ran like my best day was like 15.
Yeah.
Like, how the hell do you even get to 15 houses in a day? But that means they're running through. They're literally going right to the unit. They probably figured it's a capacitor, something quick. Give them an estimate, move on, and it's it. Nobody
now, the
ever
higher
touches
numbers
base
we
again.
normally see from salesmen, which I didn't want to mislead there. It's not from, selling techs, we'll call them. These are normally from guys, like your average 1,500 truck drives around with your app on it, just your regular salesman, right? That guy is, normally commission based, all right? If he has a bad feeling or, the customer doesn't understand the third time, all right, he's got 8 more calls today and he next opportunity's knocking. So he's not going to slow down and wait the hour-and-a-half explanation, the decision-making. Am I have to call a friend to make sure this is the right brand I should have got?
He's looking for the easy slam dunk.
Totally.
So this is what we mean by recovery, and you don't really see that, the guy's still killer salesman, okay, but there's money that's just left there. And that's what, kind of we refer to it as the abandoned cart, right? Because the customer didn't necessarily abandon the product, okay? They might not have got all their questions answered, or they may have just,
Had to
wanted
talk
some
to their
time.
spouse.
Yeah, wanted some time. That's a common one we hear, but sometimes it's literally just, they want to limp it out, all right? And 3 weeks later, the call center's given up. Maybe they've fallen down on your outbounding, so you're waiting for a reactivation text, okay? They're not ready to respond then. It's not necessarily your fault, right? It's kind of just timing. And that's why technology is so great, because you don't have to sit there and pay someone to what we call cold call, right? Because at this point, you're calling numbers that don't answer. We just wait for them to respond and then, follow our process into booking these missed replacements or repairs.
Technology comes into play here so much because it's like we can, what we call, I hate even saying this, we lay traps. And the traps are we send them content. And when they're ready to engage with content, they are ready to make and start their positioning to actually purchase the system, right? Because it's all about right message, right time. So how do we know that, right? Like if we call somebody, I say this every time we're on this call, I don't answer calls that I don't know who they're from.
I don't either.
If
they leave a voicemail, I might call them back.
Yeah. And so it's like we lay these quote unquote traps, but we give them information, right? And when they set off one of these alerts, it's going to let us know that that's the time to engage that consumer with it. And I don't think the majority of contractors understand. I would say 80% of these people that they didn't sell, they didn't buy from anyone. it's not like they went with a cheaper guy or that. It's this ego that we have inside it. Like, they didn't buy from us, so they must have been
They must have
a
went to Chuck.
shopper or this or that. Yeah. What we have found is that they didn't buy from anybody.
I mean,
You know
this is
what?
real
They're-
statistics.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
over
This is
half.
real data. It's over half. And what happened was, their daughter broke their arm and life happened, or, the husband got laid off, or, they thought they were all pumped up and the grandmother was going to help them pay for it. And you know what? They got turned down on credit. And this is going to be a reality that we're going to experience more and more. Like, we've been really blessed here the last couple years. This is honestly, it's been since 2012. We've had a hell of a run in our industry.
It's been pretty easy to grow the last 10 years.
It has. And we started a business one time in 2007, 2008. And it was some of the hardest times. But that's what I kind of cut my teeth on was how do we do business, and how do we speak to a consumer when stuff's hard? You're so beaten down through life and the economy, and maybe they lost a job or this, and then all of a sudden their air conditioner breaks.
And I'll say the aggressiveness that worked the past 2 years. Okay, people needed stuff.
Great
There was
point.
a
That's
there was a
great
shortage of equipment. This stuff will begin to fade, and
tone.
the natural phase of business is to
Yes.
grow 50% year over year. Sometimes 100% when you're smaller. In some cases more than that. So as we face a different reality, we'll call it, going back to those customers that necessarily won't cost you as much to get, or those customers who, when you were pushing through, you just missed, as I just talked about earlier. That will really help you get to that growth that you're looking for as, let's just say broken systems become, less of a reality.
Yeah.
Other people go to different means. We know this.
And at a very minimum, even if you found out that customer maybe did buy from somebody else,
Yeah.
we're taking the temperature and we're improving internal processes, because now we know.
Data.
It is. We get information like, oh, it was,
Don't make decisions off gut feeling is what
That's
Rob
right.
Pulte just said.
yeah, it's exactly, it's using the information that you have, get more information. And, it could be that, maybe you're just way out of line. Maybe your tech, they don't like. Maybe they
They
felt
didn't like the way he
threatened.
walked in the house.
That's right.
He
That
was
happens. Like,
he
people get
wasn't
offended.
he wasn't happy. He
Yep.
didn't smile. He was kind of a dick.
Look,
There's a lot of reasons why people don't buy.
They didn't know him, or they didn't like him, or they didn't trust him.
And it's much easier from the comfort of your home, regardless if it's 10 minutes or 2 hours. You respond at your will. It's not aggressive. It's very passive and helpful. That's how you'll find this. The same way we talk about how we're the great local company. This is what that is in text, and oftentimes it's missed in the haste of call centers or sales appointments during summer. So. It's nice to recover those during, your shoulder season when most people are struggling to find work. Your schedule's, booked.
Yeah. So what does that look like? So we're talking recovery.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about technology. We didn't really put it
Yeah.
together. Like what does that
It's
look
a
like?
process, right? And the first thing we always do, right, is we sort of segment the data in the beginning, right? Like, we've got, okay, what were your unsold repairs? What were your unsold replacements? Because each of those have a different messaging and tone. And we don't even talk about why didn't you buy in the first messaging. We're just simply reaching out as the owner or a manager and finding out, how did we do? And we say this over and over and over, and people don't get it. Like, either they're impatient and they just want to call up and say, hey, why didn't you buy from me? No. We want to give the benefit of the doubt to the consumer. Maybe there was a reason why they didn't buy from you, right? And we want to make sure, number one, okay, did we show up on time? Did you understand what they were talking about? Did they give you a path and a timeline and expectation of what it's going to look like when you purchased? Most of the time, what we find out is that they did their diagnosis. They went to the home. They talked to the homeowner and said, "I'm going to send you the thing." They got it working and say, "Hey, I'll just send you some quotes of what it'd be to replace it." They never had a conversation. It never gets talked about.
Yep.
They have no idea
Yeah.
what that little piece of paper is that they left behind through email.
Yeah.
And what we're finding a lot of times, even from some big software providers, a lot of these quotes are going to spam mail. Have
Yeah.
you seen that?
I've heard of that. I have seen that. I didn't experience that when I was on the HVAC side, because I was very careful about, when we had the email marketing stuff, we didn't just send out a blast to everybody right away. We warmed up the list a little bit.
Mhm.
And even the email providers that we use were actually outside of our CRM because I was a little worried about deliverability.
Yeah. So if anything, right, you better be calling your customers to make sure they actually received the email and the quote that you gave.
here's a great point. So
Yeah.
even leaving an estimate and sending a text 5 minutes later,
There you go.
we sent you an email with an estimate. Did you
Hey.
get it?
Yeah.
Keep it now they got that number in their phone. They're gonna remember who it's from.
Yep.
And they've already engaged. Yeah,
Exactly.
got it. It's great.
And here's the thing, right? You know, when do you stop following up?
When they say no.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, that's what it, because
Yeah.
I mean, we've all seen statistics until you actually put something in place where you're like, oh shit, that was like the seventh touch point, and they finally said something.
Because we give the ability of our contractors with our recovery plan to set the time period, right? Because we want you to have first dibs, right? We know that the first week or so, it's probably better if you do reach out by phone.
Sure.
Right. But after that time period, you set a time period where then it kicks off, and now we become the catch-all, if you will, you know, the re-engagement of that. So, and we wanted to have that. We have it per job type, and then we have it by time duration per job type. And then we can map that to an individual campaign.
Okay. So, and with that, I'm assuming, because then that gets into messaging, right? Because if you're trying to do some sort of follow-up and it's very generic, right? And the messaging is very generic. You can't hone down to like, hey, we were out to look at your air conditioner. It's more like, well, hey, we came out to do a repair. And it's more generic. And I know you talked about messaging in a video.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about a little bit about that, about how that messaging can really impact who you find and who you actually get to kind of come out of the woodwork, if you will? So that way the right people raise their hand for the right jobs.
And that's really important. You know, everybody talks about, you know, what's more valuable to a company these days, reviews or maintenance contracts, right? Like, wow, what a discussion we've had.
That's been a little bit of a topic this week.
It's a topic like lately, right? Like, and we talk about, you know, and some of the answers I can see on both sides, right? There's good points on both sides. You know, there's the crew that says, well, you know, show me anybody that's actually made money on maintenance contracts, and I'll show you how valuable. And then there's other people that say maintenance contracts per X gives you this value, right? And it's both ways, right? And I think both are right to some degree. I think that it's important, and I think people need to realize that if you just send out marketing collateral that talks about a tune-up or a maintenance appointment, you will for sure 100% lose money. Why not craft individual offers for specific styles of units for tune-ups, specifically designed for?
So go into that a little bit. What are you referring to?
So really, you know, I mean, when you look at who did it really well was Mobil One with high mileage motor oil, right? And what they did was they created a motor oil that was specifically designed for cars and vehicles with over 75,000 miles on.
And what's the thought process there? At least what do you think the thought process there to get cars over that? Because
they could charge more for the oil.
Okay.
So because it was specifically designed
so it
for
was
them.
designed differently.
It was probably very similar, if not the same oil, but they could actually charge more for it, or it was to win that market share, right? When you look at your, you know, the oil market, they probably have segments of who they wanted to go after. Was it the import market? Was it synthetic? Was it this? They knew that they had a opportunity in the market to go after an untouched or unheard of or underserved market. So when we put out these postcards, or when we call our customers, or, you know, nobody hates running a tune-up for a unit that's a year old and warranted by somebody else.
Yeah.
But yet, why don't we use marketing collateral that kind of pulls them out, right? Like, if this is a tune-up that's specifically designed for units that are 5 years or more.
So somebody with a 2-year-old system is not going to get a high mileage
just like
tune-up.
we did in the summertime.
And they're not going to care either. If they see that, they're like, that's not me.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's not relatable.
Oh, we tell it in print down below. If your unit is younger than 5 years, this is the one for you. But if not, this is the one specifically designed for you.
Interesting.
Why not? I mean, you're not going to make any money anyway, so why go out there?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're just going to look like a salesy company. You're going to get the review that says, he showed up 10 minutes late. We had a brand new unit, and then they tried to sell me something.
So you mean it's with Halloween coming up, and this probably will get posted after Halloween. Don't do the oldest, spookiest furnace, because everybody knows you're just trying to find leads to replace it.
Yeah. That's a good.
I've seen that done on the radio and TV, and it gets leads, but a lot of them don't replace because they kind of get the game, right?
Yeah.
But
this looks much more helpful, as your tone is most times. The helpful person is always better responded to in text than a pushy person.
Yeah.
Okay. So the same things that work in person and on the phone don't work in text. And that's why, a lot of people that try to implement that same thing
Yeah.
through their text messaging don't have much success. So
They're trying to use marketing messaging
Ugh.
in text messages,
They
and
seem
people
so
see right through it.
desperate, dude.
or the
They
worst is
seem
on
like,
social platforms.
oh, they want to write this book, like the novel of our company and how we're going to help you and like save your day. And what you have to realize is this consumer, when you send out that message, probably just got off work and they're driving. They just got home from a day and they're frustrated, and they open up their phone. They see a book about how great all these different things, and it's like, why don't we just say, hey, we got these systems that can help you. Would you be interested in that? Yes
Yeah.
or no?
Because worst case, if it gives them an out. So if they're not interested, they don't reply stop. So you can again retarget them in the future.
Yeah.
If you just say, if it's just like a push to get something, they're like, fuck you guys, like
Yeah.
stop, don't send me anything.
A little secret. I thought about saying this one or not, but one thing you said no earlier, right? So if the customer says no, that's not legally stopped. All right, and I'll leave it there. So the way that you would handle that objection is kindly, when you are in need of service, here's a link, book whenever you're ready.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah, no problem. Like it's
no
not sales,
problem.
right? You're not going to
Hey,
keep trying
hey,
to push them into
No,
something they don't want.
not at all. And we're just
Yep.
going to let them know that, hey, if you ever do need service, here is a dedicated line that you can schedule your service to get your first.
They can send it
available
to a
appointment.
friend. We have put wording in it, so if you search through your messages 3 months from now, you'll
Mhm.
find it.
Yeah.
All right, like you're looking for that HVAC
And guess what?
guy.
If they ever
There you
click
go.
that link or open that message up, guess who gets a trigger?
A
You guys.
trigger, for terms people don't know, is a notification. Let's just say a message on your
Mhm.
CRM that says, hey, someone just reviewed X from 3 months ago. You might want to give them a call.
Yeah, or we sent them into one of the other R's, which is relational. So we go into relationship marketing when we know we have an open opportunity, right? We've tried to recover it, couldn't close it. So that is your relationship marketing, right? Those are the people that you send them your blog content. Not much, but just stay current with them once a month, right? And you guys do that at Relentless. You do that with the email,
Yeah.
All the time, and it works.
Yeah.
But you don't need to send it to everybody.
No, and that's it just as and that's something I've always thought about too. But it takes a lot of work to build stuff like that, because you have to think through the pathways. Like, what did they hire us for?
Yeah.
What marketing message do you want to send those people? Because someone who's a tune-up customer or a maintenance membership customer, somebody who just waits to stuff breaks, are two totally different people.
Oh, yeah.
And
You
that's
got
exactly
your
what
proactive
we've
versus
done.
your reactive.
So you have templates.
Mhm.
So you literally choose your template that aligns with your customer group. So you upload your big list, and then you upload your negative list. So your negative list will pull those names out, and then you can choose a campaign for specifically those
And it's
people.
dynamic. So
Yeah.
based upon the actions or behaviors, let's say, that a consumer takes through a path, it will grow and shrink that list. You'd be surprised how many people message, even stop, right? Or no, I don't want it right now. And then 3 weeks later, I've used that link to schedule a tune-up. Now, why would they do that? Were they saying no because they didn't want the offer? Mm-mm. They said no because we hit them at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Timing is vitally important.
Oh yeah.
And day parting and sending messaging at the right time of day is, I would say, it's one of the keys to success.
Sure. So what you saw right time of day. Obviously, I'm assuming every market's a little different. Or are people just generally very similar as far as like certain times of day they're
Language.
checking their phone more?
Language.
Stuff like
I
that.
often, so I do onboarding pretty often, or oversee it at least. And the biggest thing is your language. So for instance, I'm from the Raleigh area. Things like the triangle. Okay, remain relatable.
Mm.
All right, if you say like the Raleigh metro area, all right, that's the most different across different areas, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if I say DC metro, it's like no problem. But then you go say Miami metro, people are like, huh?
Yeah.
It's just not something that
They don't talk
They
like
don't.
that.
They don't say
Yeah.
that. So I wouldn't say it's timing. Timing's similar. People don't like to buy in the morning. Let's just say that. Okay, unless it's broken, you're probably not calling someone that morning. Proactive customers most likely are ready to purchase when they sit down on their couch in the evening. All
Sure.
right? And this is data speaking, not my whim. It is, throughout the day you see sales, no doubt, and you see people communicating, but you'd be amazed at the amount of people who want to talk in the evenings. So automation kicks that up because your CSR has left the office.
Right.
Okay. And if it can handle
that
the
would,
customer,
that would have been my question is like, how does that get handled? Because so they're ready, 6 o'clock at night, nobody's in the office, somebody replies.
so
And it
Refrog
sits
handles,
until the morning.
yeah, that's
if you don't
what
have
normally
anything.
happens. So Refrog actually takes the customer and can handle it with little to no human help.
Mhm.
So it'll classify the customer and leave them with an open message expecting a response when hours resume if customer falls into said category. 85% of customers will say no human needed. They'll get whatever offer you were looking for booked, or they'll go into the funnel, which I was going to lead into, cleans your data. So dealing with a lot of smaller companies and even guys in the, 5 million or less, they just scaled. They just wanted to get here, right? They basically took a good salesman and hired a bunch of them, and now they're here. So organization, as we've been talking about, seems to be the topic here, is not always key in these companies. So they have a lot of data, but I'll ask for, repairs versus replacements. And they'll say, I can tell you which houses we've been in. Okay. Like they sold or they didn't.
Yeah.
So we'll take that data and we can actually clean your data. Essentially, you get work as well as, people who didn't have the best experience, you hear why. People who did, you get reviews from. People who are looking for service, you put those on the side. People who said they want service in the future, but not right now. Now you've taken your 3,500 people and you've put them in sections real time. So over, let's say, 2 weeks, you've now gotten your data list as well as appointments, but you've cleaned your data list as a byproduct of the software. So I was just talking to someone about how, turning dirty data into clean data is huge.
It is. I get lists from customers, and I'm looking at them like, do you really want me to email all these commercial customers you sent over? I told you not to send but even insert, and this is usually service side because it's residential commercial. I see commercial businesses listed as residential, just basic stuff, right? Like you're talking on a way deeper level.
They're
like, I'm
moving
talking
fast.
on a very surface level.
Yeah.
The data is not getting entered correctly from the start. So the data is terrible coming. It's like,
and that's why
shit
the
in, shit out,
appropriate
really.
messaging in the beginning is so important because we want to draw out the good and the bad. Don't care about the bad or the good. Like I want to separate, right? And we do that through a cleaning process, but mostly it's by using the correct message, right? And we created the Refrog program, and we knew it was going to be like this just unbelievably great thing that was going to help people throughout the shoulder season, as it was going to be very productive. We had kind of polished the alpha version back in February and kind of held back on it and tested it and launched it here the last couple weeks, but I had no idea that it would be so productive. Got a company, we had 3 companies. So we launched 6 of them as our first, real live push after a bunch of testing. 4 of them have already paused because they can't handle the work and book till Christmas.
Till Christmas?
And it's October
So
21st.
it's October 21st. Yeah, I was going to say, just
One of them has
preface that.
174 tune-ups already scheduled.
That's insane.
They're on a hiring blitz right now. I've never seen it where the shoulder season was when you had to hire more techs.
Yeah. Normally that's when you just have to try to maintain.
It's unbelievable. And the owners, they're happy, but mostly they're kicking themselves in the butt. Like, damn, I didn't realize all this was here.
Yeah. Well, so, and you mentioned the word reviews. So most people, they think reviews, they usually think, okay, completed job, I ask for a review, right? Because that's the pathway. That's how all of the CRM connections to the reputation management connections work.
Just what people know.
So you guys in your platform goes a little differently. And this, whether it's using something like Refrog or just in general, reaching back out to your customer base.
Everybody gives up on everybody. And that's the common theme, whether it be reviews, whether it be repair sales, whether it be tune-ups, whether it be outbounding. And I know why we give up on them, because we barely have enough time to spend a couple hours with our family in the evening when we get home. Like this trade and this service business is tough. And then you put the added stress of a shoulder season, like, or just in general, like we might send, 1 or 2 review requests after a job is done. If they don't post a review, what are you doing to follow up then? Because we've taken information from customers a month or 2 later, and we asked them, well, why did you post now? And most of the time they say, because I didn't know how it was going to work. How can you ask me for a review on the same day?
Sure. Because there's a certain percentage that at the time when their problem has been solved, there is a good percentage of people who will leave you that review because they're happy right now. But there are the people that are like, hey, you fixed it, but I don't know if it's going to work in a week. So I need
Exactly.
time. And then they nobody ever follows up because at that point we're 15, 30 jobs down the line.
Because we're so short-sighted in view that reviews don't equal revenue.
Reviews, well, coming from the marketing
I
side, I mean,
know,
you guys
I
also,
know.
you guys do marketing. And obviously this is a huge focus of mine. We talk about reviews, I feel like almost daily
Yeah.
with contractors because
Such an
it's so,
impact on SEO.
it's
Such
so
an
important because the best rankings in the world don't mean squat if you can't convert, and convert is reviews.
Mhm.
It's reviews, and it's the response to those reviews, because people look at that stuff and the data shows that people look at like an average of like 6 reviews when they hire a company. And that might be light. It depends on, really what you're looking for if you're really not sure. But if you don't have the reviews and you don't have people saying great things about you regularly, then you're not going to have a chance to get
Yeah,
in the
but why
house.
do we give up on it? Like, we're so easy to give up. And it's like, there are solutions out there that can, and we've created one. I'm sure there's other ones out there as well. But we need to be more prudent about following through. We can't just be chasing around everything,
Yeah.
For the easiest solution. And I think that technology will be the thing that will really help contractors and hopefully alleviate some of that stress that they have. Because if you use the technology to assist, you're going to have a more successful business.
Yeah. The problem is, I think contractors, they look at technology and there's so much of it right now, and it's not their game. It's not their forte.
Yeah.
Like technology is almost like a burden, right? Some of these programs are so burdensome.
And then you look at the tech stack. I mean, they're paying these monthly fees to use this software. Where they
So you're saying,
$199,
so you're saying
$4.99.
memberships are still a thing?
Oh yeah, I love membership. Right. And I'll just get this on the record right now. When it comes to membership, the reason why I value memberships more than reviews, the bottom line is I can't control where the reviews are posted.
And so you were one of the first people, we had this discussion in Facebook groups, and you brought up such a great point, Justin. Google and Yelp and Angie and Home Advisor, if they don't like you, you stop paying them.
Anybody ever had their GMB suspended?
Yeah. Who hasn't at this
Right?
point?
How
Like at
those
this point,
reviews look
somebody,
now.
exactly. I've
Right?
heard from people that, I had a guy call me when I was driving here to Vegas. He's had his GMB suspended 4 times in 2 years.
Ouch.
Like, to try to, are my reviews even going to come back? Because sometimes they don't come back; they disappear. And it's so you're putting your trust in platforms that you don't own. Your memberships and things like your website, like actual assets,
Yeah.
your customer list.
They're assets. Yeah.
Those are assets. Those are actually things that people want to buy because they're worth something. So
Yeah. And I think that there's look, like we saw what we talked about earlier. We're on the rooftop of a casino. There's rockets on the side of hotels. There's HVAC in the city of Vegas that's taking over. There is a new breed and there is a new change. Like, people look at, with all the equity money that's being flown in, they look at things and value things in different ways. But I still believe that both are vitally important. But personally, if I were to buy an asset, I want to buy something that I control. And I can control memberships. I cannot control whether I wake up and all of a sudden my GMB is suspended. It's not showing.
right. Yep. Right.
Then how valuable is that? You just bought this asset and they're revenues are falling.
Yeah. And then nobody can hire you.
Yeah. I think what they're doing, they're buying an assumption of a amount of traffic that you convert from a rank. And I don't know. It's too hard to quantify.
The people that come in and buy into the industry, or they've already been in the industry, they understand the value of these things, because just like we've talked about, the things you guys are talking about with the data, the customer list, reactivation, they realize all of those things exist. If they just put their systems on it, they can instantly become more profitable, and they don't have to go get any new customers. They're already there in the list.
It's mind-blowing. I had no idea. Like, I was talking to Victor the other night and I was like, man, I so wish I had this software that we created when I had this. The amount of stress and pain that I would go through. And then what I'd do is I'd put up a plan in the weekend. I'd go in the office and talk to my CSRs and try and rally them up. We're going to do this outbounding thing. We're going to do it. And
And
it'd
they
go
hated
great between now and like lunch.
They hated it.
And
Who wants to make 150 outbound phone calls in a day? And then you get hung up on people say nasty things to you on the phone. It's just human nature, right? Like, we get so used to all the spam calls and stuff. A local company's actually trying to do good, like just trying to touch base with their customers, and people are nasty. This because they're tired of the spam, and it is a grind.
Yeah.
Like I give anyone credit that's been in like telemarketing for more than like 6 months.
I'm telling you.
Like I don't know how they do it. I could never do it. It's just so like deflating. But so as far as the event and stuff like that, let's talk about that quick. So this is your guys' first event with a
It
booth.
is. We
With a
have
booth.
With a
We have
booth.
booth.
With a
Number
booth.
14. Lucky number
Yeah.
14.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, that's the lucky.
Bet
Yeah,
it
you
don't
definitely,
really
don't, you
look
definitely don't want 13 in Vegas.
Yeah, and it was interesting. We're going to set up our first booth, and we're a young company, but it's been a hell of a ride going on in this last year. And I think the most satisfying thing is the amount of people that we've helped on the journey. But we get there and need a task note with ordering, fulfilling, and getting it here. And the boys got to set it up yesterday. And how'd that process go there?
Bet some other setup guys $100 they couldn't get it right. They got it. I had to pay the 100.
Yeah, it was difficult.
But we bought it brand new, got it shipped in literally the day before. And
At least you got it on time.
he said it would be tight. I didn't understand what that meant. 4 men stretching fabric tight. Yeah, that's what he meant.
Yeah, I knew it was bad when I'd messaged him a couple times. I said, "How's it look? How's it look?" And it was crickets. I'm like,
Hour and
"Oh,
a half."
boy. Oh,
Yeah,
boy."
when you don't hear back with thumbs up or
Oh,
something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, I figured they'd send me pictures, and I didn't hear anything. And then Brock sent me some message and said, like,
We're finishing up.
"We're
40
working
minutes
on
later,
it.
nothing.
We're working on it."
Yeah. 40 minutes later, nothing. We're like blowing the dinner reservations, everything.
Yeah.
Gotta get this thing up.
No,
I know you guys were sweating it, but man, it looks great.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
it looks
and
awesome.
It's been a blast here. It's just great to hang out with people that, and we are.
it's funny because similar to, and we'll wrap up with this. So, because I've had this experience too, and I just talking offline, I know you have. Your customers don't always tell you that they're happy and they're busy and all this stuff, and then they come up to you and like, we're so freaking busy, and it's like the best, like for what we do on this, like the non-contractor side, it's like the best feeling in the world to have people tell you that. And that they need to hire, they know they need to work on operations and systems because they just can't get in front of it. And it's very fulfilling to hear that in person versus like a text or to actually see that and feel that like emotion and how it's
Yeah.
changed their business.
Yeah, and that's because we love our clients dearly because we get involved with them. Like they're almost like going to,
Yeah.
we're in the battle every day, and it's we find out so much more in person, like who they are, and have dinner with them and hang out. And
That's where the name Growth Engine came from because
Yeah.
at first, we were doing our online model and then you pour gasoline on fire and you just ignite all their problems essentially. So
yeah,
you'd help them with accounting, help them with, how to get this much equipment. I've never had to buy 100,000 in 1 month. How do I do this? They only float me 75,000. I don't have a credit card. So, that's why it became the name Growth Engine because we're willing to help with anything. That's how much we care. And we know that, if we help the companies that we partner with, that they will grow as well as us. So,
Yeah.
when you're not, leeching off, we'll call it a retainer or getting a participation trophy. All right. And you have to, otherwise they won't be with you long. There's no contracts, there's no setup, nothing we've ever done. So you have to stay on top of your ball or you're cut quickly, which keeps you as a business very lean and, agile, right? You're always trying to find the new next thing. And while you have a team behind you implementing what was working or still working right now, you're always looking for the next new thing. So it's been interesting over the past year, and I think we've nailed it. So
Yeah. I mean, a year ago, it was about 50-50 split that online pricing was never going to work.
crazy, right?
And you guys are still here.
hey, we're still
it works.
surviving.
It works pretty good. I'll
So
say
you're
that.
still here in adjusting and doing other stuff. So
Yeah.
it's always great to have you guys here. I just love hanging with you guys at these events and
Yeah.
stuff.
Always.
It's
So
always, good
always,
stuff,
Josh.
man.
yeah,
Appreciate it,
so
Josh.
really appreciate you guys coming on, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Nice.
We'll see you
Have a
guys.
good one.
See you now.
Hey there, listener. This is Tersh with Service Business Mastery Podcast. Check out more information on Company Cam and some of the great features that they offer.
Are you an HVAC? Looking to save an hour a day every day? Are you looking for the latest tool to help your business scale? Well, we have the
You maybe couldn't tell, but I'm no HVAC tech. And the thought of telling a pilot light from a gas valve has me sweating bullets. Hi, I'm Jordan, and I work at Company Cam. I may not have the tools to fix a furnace, but I do have the tool for your photo documentation needs. See what Company Cam can do for you.
Keep all your different project photos organized by date and location while using annotations and comments to keep workflows clear, all from your phone. Check it out today.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.